For decades, the Central Intelligence Agency, better known as the CIA, has worked in the shadows, shaping the course of history across Africa. From toppling governments to influencing leaders, their hidden hand has touched many corners of the continent. But why? What was the CIA doing in Africa? And what secrets still remain hidden? This is the entire history of CIA operations in Africa's story of power, deception, and the struggle for control. To understand the CIA's involvement in Africa, we must go back to the end of World War II. The world was changing fast. Two new superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, were locked in a tense battle for global influence. This battle became known as the Cold War. Both countries wanted to spread their ideas: capitalism for the US and communism for the Soviet Union. Africa, rich in natural resources and home to many new independent nations, became a key battleground. The United States feared that if African countries turned to communism, the Soviet Union would gain too much power. So, in 1947, the US created the CIA, a secret organization tasked with gathering intelligence and stopping the spread of communism. And soon, Africa became one of their main targets. One of the CIA's earliest and most famous operations in Africa took place in the Congo. In 1960, the Congo gained independence from Belgium. Patrice Lumumba, a young and charismatic leader, became the first prime minister. But there was a problem: Lumumba wanted the Congo to be fully independent. He did not want to follow orders from the West. Worse still, he accepted help from the Soviet Union. This alarmed the United States. The CIA believed that Lumumba was a threat to American interests. They saw him as a dangerous figure who might turn the Congo into a communist ally. Declassified CIA documents later revealed that the agency planned to remove Lumumba by any means necessary. They even discussed poisoning his food. In 1961, with the support of the CIA, Lumumba was captured by his enemies and executed. His death sent shockwaves across Africa and showed just how far the CIA would go to protect American power. Years later, in the 1970s, the CIA turned its focus to Angola. After gaining independence from Portugal, Angola was torn apart by a brutal civil war. Three groups fought for control, but the fight wasn't just local. It became another battle in the Cold War. One side, the MPLA, was backed by the Soviet Union and Cuba. The other side, the UNITA rebels, received secret support from the CIA. For years, the CIA sent weapons, money, and even mercenaries to fight against the MPLA. But despite their efforts, the MPLA eventually won power. This secret war left Angola in ruins, with thousands of lives lost and a country deeply divided. By the 1980s, the CIA's attention turned to Libya and its leader, Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was no friend to the United States. He supported armed groups across the world and challenged Western powers. The CIA viewed him as a dangerous enemy. In 1986, after a terrorist attack was linked to Libya, the US bombed Gaddafi's compound in an attempt to kill him. He survived, but the message was clear. The CIA and the US government would not tolerate any African leader who stood against them. After the Cold War ended, the CIA's mission in Africa shifted. Now, the focus was the war on terror. In Somalia, the US feared that terrorist groups were gaining strength. The CIA began working with local warlords and carrying out drone strikes against suspected militants. Some of these operations were highly secret, targeting individuals believed to be threats to American security. But these actions also caused controversy. Many civilians were killed, leading to anger and unrest across the region. For decades, the CIA's hidden hand has shaped Africa's political landscape. From removing leaders to supporting rebel groups, their actions have had lasting effects. Some argue the CIA's work protected American interests during the Cold War, but others say it caused instability, violence, and the loss of African independence. Even today, the CIA remains active in Africa, monitoring threats, influencing governments, and protecting US power. But one question remains: at what cost? The story of CIA operations in Africa is not just a tale of spies and secret missions. It is a story of power: who holds it, who loses it, and the people caught in between. And as history shows, the shadow of the CIA in Africa is far from over. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope you learned something new today. Please like, share, comment your thoughts and subscribe for more stories about our Africa world.